Welcome back, everyone. It's crime time here on Court TV Live. Let's bring in our guests tonight, our law enforcement professionals. Joining us, retired Los Angeles Police Department Sergeant Cheryl Dorsey. Sergeant Dorsey started with the LAPD back in 1980. She worked in patrol and specialized units, including gangs. She's the author of Black and Blue, The Creation of a Social Advocate. Also with us, all right, retired Assistant Chief Jailer and former Chief of the Major Crime Section, Lieutenant Colonel Adam Lee III. Adam served as a police officer for 30 years. He oversaw homicide cases, robberies, special victims units, and a gun assault team. He's the former Assistant Police Academy Director as well. Lieutenant Colonel, Sergeant, great to have you both back on the program. We love having you on. First video tonight comes to us from the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, and we've got an officer getting stabbed by a suspect.
Why are you running, dude? 23-1. Come on.
White male, black and gray hoodie, black mask.
Are you scared?
Yeah.
Hey, look, running's not gonna help. All right? One, I run a lot. Okay? On the side trail, I'm here with him. Hold on. Look, we're gonna walk back, okay? Okay? Now, the thing of it is, you're still not in trouble, but obviously I can't trust you not to run anywhere. All right? So, come on. Come on. I'm gonna put you in handcuffs for now. Okay? God! Hey! He shot me! He's got a knife! Hey! Stop! Stop! Stop it! Stop! Stop right now! I got him at gunpoint! Stop right now! Stop! Nick! Stop! Stop right now! Put it down! Drop the knife! Throw it to the side! Put your hands behind your back! Put it behind your back right now! Put your hands behind your... Put your hands behind your back now! Turn over! Turn over!
God, I can't.
Huh? Am I bleeding?
Yeah, you okay?
I don't know.
What happened?
The reach around and stabbed me. Julia, 33, got stabbed in the neck. Get EMS rolling this way.
You saw there he got stabbed in the neck by that left hand that it looked like the suspect was sort of hiding from him. So how did the officer handle this situation and looking at everything that happened here? Sergeant, let me start with you.
Listen, as I watch this video, the tactics that the officer deployed were poor. This guy is nuttier than a squirrel's diaper. He's chasing this guy with his gun out. He's got it in his right hand. He tosses it to his left hand. I don't know if this guy is ambidextrous. Then he puts the gun in his left hand, grabs the taser in his right, so I'm assuming he's right arm dominant. He called for backup, yet he didn't wait for them. Everything that suspect did prior to him touching him telegraphed that there was going to be a problem. You could not see the suspect's hands. Hands kill. And then at some point, we'll see the officer set his gun down on the ground. Why? So he can tase him. And then he goes, do I tase him? Do I shoot him? Do I tase him? I think the reason this guy was tased is because he looks nothing like me, Benny. We'd be talking about something completely different here. And so I have a problem with everything from start to finish. He's very lucky he wasn't more severely stabbed.
Lieutenant Colonel, how do you see this?
Can you hear me?
Yep, we got you.
For some reason, I couldn't hear Cheryl, but, you know, before I criticize the officer, I want to commend him for at least trying to handle the situation for what it was. The backstory on this is that it was a mental health call. And so I believe he was probably trying to go with his training in dealing with this individual as someone who was mentally disturbed. He ran because he was about to be committed to some mental facility. But, you know, on the other side of it, the tactical side, he really messed us one up. He should have been watching this guy's hands. It was obvious to me when I first saw it that he was probably hiding something in his left hand, and he just got too close to him. And I really anticipated, like he should have, that this was about to happen. This could have been a deadly situation for both of them. He could have been killed. He could have used deadly force after he was stabbed. And so, like I said, this could have been really ugly on both sides.
All right, our next story comes to us from WXYZ in Detroit. A bloody bag of clothes.
48-year-old Chandra Stiltner is charged with tampering with evidence and accessory after the fact. Investigators accusing her of trying to help her son get away with murder. 25-year-old Flem Stiltner IV is charged with first-degree premeditated murder in the stabbing death of his father, 48-year-old Flem Stiltner III. And now Action News has obtained details on why investigators think the killing was carefully planned out. They say they found evidence written in young Flem's own journal. On August 9th, 48-year-old Flem Stiltner III was found dead in the back of a pickup truck near Belleville Lake in Van Buren Township. And investigators say before the murder, his son came here to plan out just how he was going to get rid of the body in the water. Flem Stiltner IV then went to his father's house on South Hicks Road in Wayne, and using a rear door, investigators say he went in and killed his father and drove the body to the lake, but the truck got stuck before he could put it in the water. Flem left, and investigators say his mother, Chandra Stiltner, the victim's ex-wife, took a plastic bag containing her son's bloody clothes to this house in Westland, where she allegedly asked a friend to burn it. The only problem, investigators say, is that man had been drinking so much that he didn't even remember he had a bag of bloody clothes until he was getting ready to take out the trash. Chandra Stiltner was later arrested. Her daughter, Megan Stiltner, is also charged, accused of bribing, intimidating, or interfering with witnesses. And what prosecutors and Michigan State Police have not revealed is a motive behind a young man murdering his father.
A lot of family drama there. By the way, we're tracking this case for you folks here on Court TV, but how important is this bag of bloody clothes? Lieutenant Colonel, there's this bag of bloody clothes, didn't get burned. Apparently they've got it. How important?
Any evidence in a murder case, Vinny, is extremely important. This might be all they have. At the end of the day, once they go through everything that they have, this might be the one key to the case, because they're going to be able to get DNA from the clothing of the young man, and it's probably going to match the DNA of the father. And that DNA is also going to show that the person's blood on his clothing is directly related to him. So it's going to tie things up with a bow, I'm sure, for those investigators.
Sergeant Dorsey, you know, there's a lot of drama going on in this whole thing with this family. And, you know, as you're investigating this, you've got the bag of bloody clothes, very important. There's this journal, apparently, that was filled out, may have some information. But then you've got 3 different family members all in trouble. So how do you think this whole thing ends up playing out, and what's important, and what gets us to the truth of what happened here?
Well, we're going to have to find out who's the weakest link. You've got very young children. You have a mother who is complicit in all of this. And I'm wondering if the children weren't brought into this because maybe there's something going on internally. Was there some domestic issue with either mom and dad, or was dad extra aggressive with the children and they just decided, we don't like him anymore and we're going to get rid of him? And so now that they have this bag of clothing that was delivered to someone else, I believe that they will use it as leverage to try to get a statement as to what was going on over there from the children and have them flip and turn on mom.
All right, we've got more Crime Time straight ahead. Sergeant Dorsey, Lieutenant Colonel, staying with us, plus this.
We're live in our nation's capital, where people are finding ways to express their feelings about nominee Amy Coney Barrett. These green banners on the ground across the street from the Senate committee room say, "Let the people decide." Coming up on Court TV, we'll have the latest from inside and outside the hearing room.
And she went viral in May for calling 911 on a man who was bird watching. She's now facing justice in court, but should she be publicly shamed? Should she lose her job? Tonight, the 13th Juror Speaks. Go to our Facebook pages and tell us what you think.
I think there's that expectation of law enforcement presence, and that's part of our responsibility, is to keep our citizens safe and to keep my officers safe.
As the mayor of Conrad, Montana speaking, half of the police department there is out with COVID. Another one of the stories we're covering tonight in Crime Time. Still with us, two of our favorites, Sergeant Cheryl Dorsey and Lieutenant Colonel Adam Lee III. All right, so let's get to this. KRTV, Great Falls, Montana, police helping neighboring departments.
The streets of Conrad are usually pretty quiet, but you never know when something's going to happen. That's why Mayor Wendy Judish called for backup from the Toole County Sheriff's Office, with two of the city's 4 full-time police officers currently unable to work because of COVID-19.
I think there's that expectation of law enforcement presence, and that's part of our responsibility, is to keep our citizens safe and to keep my officers safe.
Each day while the two officers are out, Toole County Sheriff deputies will work 10-hour shifts patrolling the city with the city's police officers. The deputies will wear their sheriff's office uniforms and use sheriff's office vehicles, but have been sworn in as city police officers and will be paid time and a half by the city.
The departments are very fluid together.
Conrad Police Department Sergeant Ernest Padilla was on the first shift with the deputy Monday night. He said the night went smoothly.
Basically, we're out continuing operations like we normally do, patrol, and they enhance our operation capacity.
Toole County Sheriff Donna Witt had no hesitation about helping out.
We have worked together for years and we support each other.
Providing support also helps the county. Since the deputies will be working, Witt won't have to worry about them using their days off for something else like vacation and not being available if something were to happen in the county.
All right, so how common is this, where you've got one department's got to help another department, and here, obviously, COVID, half the department was out, Sergeant, 50%. It's a department of 4, but still 50% is out. How common is this?
Well, for smaller departments, it may be very common. We think, when we hear police department, we think large numbers, and there's 18,000 across these United States. And so here we have a department with 4 officers. And listen, when an officer puts out a call for help, we come from no matter where. And being that you have deputies who are probably in and out of that city anyway, it just makes sense that they would come over and lend a hand. So better to be proactive, Vinny, than to be reactive.
Yeah, Lieutenant Colonel, this could be devastating, right? Especially for a smaller force. You can end up with no one if everyone's got COVID. So, one department helping out another.
Well, this was the sheriff's department. So the sheriff's department is probably larger than the police department because they cover the county. But this is very common. It's been happening all over the United States for years. Back in 2012, I went to Charlotte for the DNC, the Democratic National Convention. I took 75 of our officers up there when I was a captain to help them out with the DNC. And during that week, we doubled the size of the Charlotte Police Department because other agencies contributed officers as well. So it happens often. If you've been watching the protests, all of these cities that have been involved with protests have had to use other officers from neighboring agencies to supplement their efforts to help them with the protest situation.
All right, final story tonight coming to us from KSTU in Salt Lake City. Snakes, rabbits, and rats. Oh, my.
To Marty, these are family photos.
My kids.
His kids. Burmese pythons, or Burms as he calls them. Each one has a name, like Lumpy or Stubbs. Some more than 15 years old, up to 30.
Everything I've done is just for the snakes, not for me.
Marty says he lets them roam his hallways, his house, their habitat. They even sleep with him in bed.
Been doing this for 45 years. Nobody's complained up until today.
Last week, police showed up at Marty's house, they said, after they received complaints and after Marty allegedly sold a baby python he bred to an undercover officer.
Arrest me for selling baby snakes that people sell at Reptile Expo.
UPD took Marty's 20 pythons, half of them more than 10 feet long. And in the backyard.
In the back of the home were what they call feed animals, which included 585 rats, and in addition to that, there were about 5 dead rats. 46 rabbits, and in addition to that, there were 4 dead rabbits.
Even if they were for feeding the snakes, nearly 600 rats and dozens of rabbits at one home is a problem, UPD says. So is owning or selling pythons without an exotic animal permit.
I think it's about, you know, that situation with that many animals in a residential area. I think that there would be a big concern if those rats got loose. Let alone the snakes, especially the size of some of those snakes.
Marty argues he didn't realize his license expired 3 years ago. He says he's always made sure to follow the rules and he knows the risks.
And I accept living with them no matter what the danger is.
But to Marty, these aren't dangerous. They're family members that have now been taken away.
That's my life. I'm over.
All right, have you ever seen anything like this before, Lieutenant Colonel?
I have never seen anything like this before. This story gives me the creeps. But I will say, just listening to that guy, I kind of feel sorry for him. He's got some serious mental issues that need to be dealt with. But his voice just kind of gave you some compassion. At least it did for me.
I agree with you. Sergeant, have you come across anything like this?
Never seen anything like this. And while he accepts responsibility for the risks of having those animals there, his neighbors have not. And clearly something happened, and that's why they reported him. And so I hope that for his sake, he gets the help that he needs. I think this is a mental illness issue as well.
Absolutely. 20 pythons, 600 rats, 46 rabbits, but he's been doing it for years. Sergeant Cheryl Dorsey, Lieutenant Colonel Adam Lee III, always great to have you both on the program. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
All right, folks, when we come back, we're going to bring in our legal think tank and tackle the big legal stories of the day. Don't go anywhere.